What's up, everybody? It's Ryan with the Packers Hub. Today we're going to be doing a preseason wrap-up and my final thoughts on the final 53, the 53-man roster. I'll be examining all the cuts that we made, some guys that we probably should have kept or something like that. So let's get it started with the rookies. How did the rookies perform in the preseason? Well, let's look at the running backs first. And I thought far and away the best running back on the field out of the three of them was Aaron Jones. And that was followed by Devontae Mays. And then we have Jamal Williams, who I thought Jamal Williams, while he ran really hard, he didn't really produce like the other two. I mean, Devontae Mays showed a lot of skill coming out of the backfield, catching balls, which no one really predicted that. He was more of just a hard-nosed, up-the-gut kind of runner. But here he is in the preseason, catching screens, making big plays. Especially in the final game, he had two pretty big catches for like 20 yards each. And Aaron Jones was consistently finding holes, breaking off 5, 6, 7 yard runs. He had a couple of 20-plus yard runs in a couple different games. I mean, he really looked the part. But Jamal Williams was overall underwhelming. And so I wanted to mention my favorite guy, Kevin King. I've been trashing on him all along, and I'm going to keep doing it until he shows me something different. Kevin King, again, got consistently burnt in the preseason. He made one good tackle, and everybody was singing his praises because of it. Kevin King, again, was showing that he did not have the first-round potential that everybody said that he did. Yeah, he had the athletic numbers, he had all the traits, but when it came down to it, he just wasn't playing very well. He had a Pro Football Focus grade of 63, which that's a below-average player. I think he basically showed us so far that he's not going to be a big contributor this season, and he's going to have to make his second-year jump next season, because this season he probably won't be relied upon very heavily, which I'll get into later. So Josh Jones actually shored up a lot of negative thoughts I had about him. I questioned his instincts and some stuff like that, but in the final preseason game, man, he was all over the field. I mean, you couldn't watch a defensive snap without seeing Josh Jones, number 27, running across the field making a play. I mean, his instincts were great. He was a pretty good tackler, except for one touchdown that he let up. That was his one bad play. He missed a tackle, and the guy basically walked into the end zone. But Josh Jones looked great in the last game. He had a Pro Football Focus grade of 85, which is above average starter. Really good starter, actually. So happy for Josh Jones. Glad he answered some of my questions, and hopefully he can be a consistent contributor during the season. So then we get to the wide receivers, the rookie wide receivers, and I got to say I was really let down. I mean, D'Angelo Yancey, 5th-round pick. He had one big catch, but that's really about it. And then Malachi Dupre, I was so excited about that pick because I thought he was going to be big time. But he ended up getting a concussion, and that kind of derailed his whole preseason. And we wanted him back on the practice squad, but he wanted to pursue other options. So really disappointed about our rookie wide receivers. I thought Malachi had a lot of potential there. And D'Angelo does too. He's back on the practice squad, so we'll see what happens next year. And Vince Beagle and Montravius Adams, still haven't seen anything from them. We're still waiting for Vince to get off the PUP, and Montravius, people thought he might be going to the IR. He's not. We signed Quentin Dial to replace him while he gets healthy, and I'll have more thoughts on Quentin Dial in a bit. But yeah, still waiting on those two guys to come back, and we need Vince to come back because he's going to be one of our backup outside linebackers at a position where we really need him to come back as soon as he can. And then I said it when we drafted this guy, Kofi Amici sucked. I mean, he was just awful. He's on our practice squad because he has really good athletic traits, and that's about it. So hopefully he tunes some things up over the season, and during the off season he comes back better next year, because he does have athletic traits to work with. But I mean, he was just awful on the field. Like, you had to get him off. He was a liability. So moving on to the 53 as a whole, it was a good decision to only carry 2 quarterbacks. I mean, everybody was like, oh, we needed Taysom Hill, but Taysom Hill, injury prone, 27-year-old rookie. not really a guy that you really want on the team in general because, yeah, he was making plays, he was scoring points, but at the end of the day, he's 27 years old. He's a rookie. He's super injury prone. I mean, you look at his BYU injury history, it's a laundry list long. So it was good that we got Joe back on the practice squad. We have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. So in a pinch, God forbid, we need to bring Joe up because of an injury, then we can do that. So I think it was good that we kept 2 quarterbacks on the roster because there were other positions that we needed more players at. And one of them was running back. And Ty was shaky in the beginning of the preseason, not blocking very good in pass pro. He fumbled early on in the first game, but as the games went on, as the preseason went on, he looked more consistent. He looked better. And in the last game, he had, or in the second to last game, the third game, he had a pretty decently long run, like 25 yards or so. So he looks like he's getting into form, and that's good. So for the start of the season, he's not as rusty, and hopefully he hangs on to the ball. And like I said, Jamal Williams is going to be our number 2, but he didn't really show anything in the preseason to me. I mean, in one game he had a lot of receptions and had some good yards after the catch, but that's about it from him. I think it should go Ty Montgomery, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and then Devontae Mays. I mean, Devontae Mays outplayed Jamal Williams, but I mean, Jamal Williams has that round 4 label on him, so he's going to get a higher place on the depth chart because of that. So, looking at fullback, Ripkowski's a dog. He's going to be one of the best fullbacks in the league this year. You can send that in the mail, like, he's going to be one of the best fullbacks. Wide receivers, one of the best groups in the NFL. And my only question there is, why are we hanging on to Jeff Janis? I mean, we could have had, Michael Clark or Max McCaffrey, one of these guys that shows promise. I mean, Michael Clark is 6'6", and he's consistently winning jump ball battles in the air. So we could have used that, or we could have used Max McCaffrey, who's got a lot of speed. Well, not a lot of speed, but he's got decent speed. He runs really good routes, really crisp routes. He's catches everything, basically. I haven't seen him drop anything. So, I mean, he's just the definition of consistency and probably something we could have used over Jeff Janis. And then looking at tight ends, we probably have the deepest tight end group in the NFL. I mean, Martellus Bennett speaks for himself. Lance Kendricks is super solid. And Richard Rodgers, people forget he had 10 touchdowns a few years ago. So, Richard Rodgers, don't sleep on him. He can definitely play. I know he's slow. He doesn't have big playmaker ability, but he can get the job done. Looking at O-line, I'm really worried. I'm really worried if any of our starters go down because our depth behind them is atrocious. Spriggs looked god-awful. Murphy played admirably, but he still got his tail whipped on occasion. Justin McCray is not an NFL caliber O-lineman, at least against starters. Yeah, he played well in the preseason against backups, but I don't think he's going to be able to handle Calais Campbell or any of those types of players. Don Barclay is on IR, so we won't be seeing him until week 8, thank God. Don Barclay, that's a whole nother story. And then Lucas Patrick, I mean, maybe he'll be decent, but again, with McCray, I don't really know how he'll hold up against J.J. Watt, Calais Campbell, NFL caliber starting defensive lineman. So then we move on to the D-line, which is the complete opposite. Super deep, super good. Kenny Clark and Dean Lowry look like they took a huge step from year 1 to year 2. They look great. Mike Daniels, of course, is a dog. Then when Montrevious comes back, hopefully he shows something. But then even if he doesn't come back for a little bit, we have Ricky Jean-Francois, super good veteran D lineman. Then we got Quentin Dial, who, for all intents and purposes, he's a road grader in the run game. I mean, he's gonna be stout against the run. He's not gonna give you a whole lot in pass rush productivity, but that's not what we need. We just need someone who can be a roadblock in the run game, and that's what he provides for us. So then we move on to outside linebacker, and it's pretty much the same as the old lineman. If the starters go down, the depth's not there. So, and then our starters don't have a very good injury history. I mean, Nick Perry took like 4 years to finally have a season where he played like over 10 games. Clay Matthews he's guaranteed to miss at least 6 games. Clay's always getting hurt. His best years are probably behind him, as much as I don't want to admit that. But Ahmad Brooks, he's washed up. He's a shell of his former self. Can he give us some quality snaps? Yeah, probably. He could probably get us, a couple sacks here and there, maybe about 5-6 sacks. But he's not going to be the Ahmad Brooks that we saw, 2-3 years ago playing with the 49ers. That's why he got cut. And then we brought in the guy from the Falcons. His name escapes me right now, but he looks pretty good. Watch his highlight tape. He was a beast. But we all know highlight tapes are highlight tapes. So we'll see how he actually plays this coming Sunday when we face the Seahawks. I'm sure he'll get quite a few snaps. So outside linebackers aren't looking very good. Kyler Fackrell, or as I call him, Kyler Astral. I mean, he is utter ass. He's very bad. He's not an NFL caliber outside linebacker. He's trash. And the sad thing is we're probably going to be very reliant on him this season because Clay and Nick, I love them, but their injury history is really bad. They're gonna miss some time. That's just a given. Hopefully they don't. I mean, I hope they don't. But given their history, I mean, they're gonna miss some time, and we're gonna have to be reliant on our backup outside linebackers, which I am not too impressed with. So, looking at middle linebackers, I mean, they're average at best. What can you say? Jake Ryan actually made one of the biggest improvements from his rookie year to his second year, according to Pro Football Focus. Went from a 43 grade to a 77. So hopefully he has another similar type jump so he can be a quality starter at middle linebacker. But, we'll see how that shakes out. Hopefully Blake Martinez makes a big leap from year 1 to year 2. And Joe Thomas, he's solid in coverage. He plays the run solidly. So average at best. Not going to get too excited. I don't think anyone really is. And then safeties, I mean, what can you say? Amazing all around. Great starters, Haha and Morgan, and great depth behind them. Marwin Evans had an amazing preseason. I mean, he was a stud each and every game. Kentrell Bryce, he had some missed tackles, but still really solid preseason. And Josh Jones was a monster the final game of the preseason. So safety's looking really good. If a guy misses some time here or there, I have no qualms about one of the other guys stepping up and taking that spot because everyone showed that they can play during the preseason. And cornerbacks, I think Demarius Randall and Quentin Rollins need to get back to their rookie form. Demarius Randall was rookie of the month for the month of November, his rookie year. And then Quentin Rollins had an 82 grade from Pro Football Focus his rookie year, and they expected big things from him from his second year. It never really panned out. But hopefully they both get back to their rookie years where they were both dogs, and, we'll see what happens. And then I would not expect Kevin King to really play. He's probably going to play pretty sparingly. Devon House is going to be our number 1. And then Demarius or Quentin are going to be 2 or 3. And then 4th is probably going to be Ladarius Gunner because he has a lot of experience in the system. So Kevin King played pretty poorly during the preseason. He had a 63 grade against backup wide receivers and the like. So maybe he works his way up to number 4, but I don't really see him being a consistent contributor on defense this year. Hopefully he makes a big second-year leap next year, but I don't really see it this year. Lindsey Pipkins and Josh Hawkins played really well in the preseason. Lindsey balled out 3 of the 4 games. One of the games he didn't play so well. Josh Hawkins had a couple games where he played really well. So those guys are both on the roster. We'll see how they play this year. I don't expect them to get much time at all. But, hopefully if their number's called, then they ball out. But I'm not expecting it. Special teams, Justin Vogel looked really good. He looked like an NFL punter. But the thing with him is consistency. So like 4 out of 5 punts is going to be a really good punt. It's going to be 40 to 50 yards with really good hang time, but one's going to be a shank. And we saw that throughout the preseason. Hopefully he gets that fixed and he's more consistent. And finally, we have a returner. We have a really good punt returner in Trevor Davis, the guy who's busting out big punt returns the entire preseason. He had one muff punt. I think he took it to heart, and he's not going to have very many more during this season, if any. And he's just a big play waiting to happen. And hopefully he can give us some quality snaps at receiver too. I think he can. He looked like during the preseason his routes were a little crisper and his hands were a little bit better. So we'll see how it pans out wide receiver, but I think he's going to be a really good returner for us. He finally showed some explosive ability at that position, which we've been lacking for a very long time. So yeah, guys, that's about it. Tell me how smart I am or how dumb I am in the comments down below. I'm sure I'll get both. And yeah, guys, that's about it for me. So I'll catch you in the next video.